is up, Sneaker Leaguers? This is Josh with the Sneaker League of America, episode 3. If you're watching via YouTube, Facebook, wherever you're coming from, whatever platform, thank you for viewing. Um, so today, just going to talk about a couple different things. Obviously, elephant in the room, which is going to be, obviously the coronavirus and how that's affecting everybody. So gonna tie that in a little bit with sneakers, talk about that, and obviously today's St. Patrick's Day. So coming to you guys with some just a history of different St. Patrick's Day shoes and how I feel about them, where they rank on my list of different St. Patrick's Day shoes, because just because it's the theme, right? So today, and kind of gonna give you guys just a synopsis of what I've been doing for this little quarantine moment that we're having as a country. So personally, I don't know what you guys are doing. I myself have been so besides quarantining, for one, the only thing I've been doing outside of that is grocery shopping and going to work. Pretty much it, right? This is pretty much what anybody else is doing if you can work. So for those that can work, definitely take that as a blessing, a miracle that you're able to work. Because there are a lot of people day by day losing the ability to work right now, getting laid off and stuff like that. So just be aware of that. I myself, if you haven't noticed, look rough because I can't even go get my hair cut or get braided or nothing like that. So I got the puff balls on the top, just doing something crazy shit. Since I can't get my hair cut, might as well have a crazy hairstyle for people to look at. But anyway, so I myself within my house and at home been cooking just easy comfort food stuff that because I'm gonna be cooking pretty much every day. Besides, I might go to somewhere like Chipotle, order something, and actually I went to Chipotle a little bit earlier today. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. It's kind of early still, so I haven't started drinking. I'm sipping some coffee with Irish cream in it. Got on my green pants, just feeling a little celebratory despite all of what's going on. Right now, just trying to be a little bit celebratory and not so down. So getting in the spirit of how do I say, St. Patrick's Day. Gonna adjust my camera a little bit here too, because I don't want you guys looking at my ugly feet the whole time. But so getting right into the coronavirus stuff. So yeah, I've been pretty much quarantining. It's just been me and my girl. And shout out to her. She's been a big help, because we've been staying at my place the whole time. She's staying away from her place because her family's there. There's like a bunch of people in one house, so we've been kind of staying away and doing our own thing. And she, she's pitching in with the groceries and all that other stuff. So shout out to her for that. What else have I been doing? Cleaning, just like everybody else, disinfecting everything and clean, making sure that I have supplies, that type of thing. Watching TV. So me, if you're like me, obviously this is a not just a sneaker vlog, but a sports vlog. People that know me know I'm into basketball mostly, and so it sucks right now we can't watch basketball because there isn't any. But I've been watching like old basketball games, like on NBA TV. They've been showing nothing but like old championship games and stuff. Like I watched the 1980 finals, Game 6 between the Lakers and the Sixers. Great game. That was awesome. Great series too. If you want to go, if I'm just giving you guys ideas. If you want to go and watch some, like, oh yeah, that is a good idea. I'm gonna go watch some old championship games. I watched a bunch of different championship highlights from LeBron. Like, I'm a big LeBron fan. Obviously, I'm from Akron. I bleed. I live, die, and breathe LeBron James, like everybody else from Akron. Besides a couple haters, Akron's got people like, well, he never did anything for me, so he's not my hero. Okay. But yeah. So just filling my time with some things that you know I don't usually. I haven't been too much into sneaker news because let's be honest. I mean, I can't buy sneakers right now. Any money that I'm getting, I'm saving it up because we don't know what's going on right now. So I would implore everybody out there, um, if you are able to work and make money, don't. If you've never saved your money before, save that shit now, please. Don't go by like I know a lot of places are telling you don't have to pay your bills for a couple months. You're probably not gonna have to pay your rent and all this stuff, and it's like, oh man, I got all this extra money. No, you don't. It's not like that. Here's the thing. This is all being facilitated by the government. I don't know about y'all, but I'm black, and I do not trust the government with anything in regards to money ever. If you're like me, and then you should feel the same way. So be careful with your money. Don't go out and spend your money on groceries. Save it because when it comes time and this quarantine stuff is over, if it ever ends up being over, who knows? Um, it's gonna be business as usual, and these companies are gonna require you to end up catching up on your bills. So I'd rather do it sooner than later. So if this does end and they're like, hey, you got to catch up on your bills, like here you go, here's what I owe you from whenever we were going through what we were going through. So just keep that in mind. Be responsible. Be careful with your money. But yeah, so I mean, I haven't been keeping up on sneakers just because of that. I got bigger fish to fry, just like everybody else. But I still think about sneakers. I still, if I come across a video about a sneaker, or I see a sneaker video that I'm like, oh shit, For instance, last week I leaked the Air Jordan 4 Fire Red news. A lot of people. Here's the thing. My source obviously got a hold of it like the same day that other places did, so I got ahead of the thing and I leaked it before Complex. I leaked it before Soul Collector. I leaked it before Kicks on Fire. Any other place I had seen had not yet talked about the Air Jordan 4 Fire Red. There was only like one source that I came across that actually had the news about the Fire Red. So I felt kind of accomplished. Like I got some news before some of these other places did. That made me feel cool. But yeah, so I leaked the news about that. That made me real hype. Now it's not coming out for a while. We're not going to see the Air Jordan 4 Fire Red until like not next, but this upcoming Black Friday. So we got a while. Who knows? I mean, that might change because if we're getting news this early, a lot of times they say, "Oh, that's not coming out for months," and then here it comes. Oh, that's coming out just in a couple. It's right around the corner. So I don't know. Who knows? I think it's more of a summer sneaker. I don't see why they would release a Fire Red Air Jordan 4 in the middle of the winter. To me, it's always been like a summer sneaker. It's got a white upper, white and red. Just feels like the shoe feels like a Ferrari. You know what I mean? Like just the look of it. But that's my opinion. And then of course, Air Jordan 6 Carmine OG. That's gonna come out next year sometime. We don't know yet. But that's leaked. Those are two shoes that I'm really excited about. I've talked about it before. If you want to hear my take on those two sneakers, I talked about the Air Jordan 4 Fire Red in some previous episodes, so you can go back and look at that. Talked about the Air Jordan 6 Carmine before, but I'm also gonna post a video Saturday. So I'll be doing a podcast episode on Saturday, and I'm also doing a video while I'm doing the podcast. So I'll have a guest on. So my guest, I'm not, it'll be a surprise, but my guest is gonna be joining us on the podcast. So he's joining us via audio. Not gonna see him. I'm gonna be the only one in the video, just with him as a guest. We're gonna talk about some Air Jordan 6s. We're going to talk about some doomsday prepping. Not really. We're just going to talk about coronavirus and stuff a little bit. Just updates, whatever ends up being in the news at that point in time. We'll talk about a couple other things. I'll keep the other topics a secret until the video comes out. But yeah, definitely tune in for that. Saturday it would be a good episode. It'll be the first time that I've had a special guest join for the podcast, so that'll be special. If you haven't listened to the podcast and you've only watched the video episodes on my Sneaker League of America Facebook page, there is a link to the podcast. I've posted a bunch of times. Just go down the timeline on my Facebook page. It is there. You can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcast app. You can listen on any podcast app you can think of. It's most likely going to be on there. But yeah, so getting right into some lighthearted topics. Again, today's St. Patrick's Day, so we're going to talk about a little bit of St. Patrick's Day sneakers. There aren't many worth mentioning. If I had to, I guess I'd start with like the first one in the history. That notably, there is the Air Force One that came out in only women's sizes. So the first St. Patrick's Day Air Force One that came out was in only women's sizes. It came out in 2005, and it's probably the best looking one in my opinion. It's mostly white. It's got green stitching around the midsole, which is really cool because most Air Force Ones don't come with a different color stitch around the outsole. The stitch the stitch on the midsole is usually the same color as the midsole. Very rarely do you see an Air Force One with a stitching on the midsole that's a different color. So that's really cool. The midsole's white, the outsole is gum, and then it's got the green highlights. Also, the upper is patent leather instead of the regular tumbled leather on an Air Force One. It's got green on the back tab of where the Nike Air is. Then it's also got a shamrock on the heel. So I think that's the coolest looking St. Patrick's Day sneaker, just because of the materials and the different aspects of it, the colors and where they're blocked on the shoe. But of course, it was a women's exclusive when it dropped. So if you, as a guy, if you wanted the sneaker at that time, you probably would have had to, seen if you could get a size 12 or some shit. So, like me, I wear 10 in men, so I wear 11 and a half, sometimes a 12 in women. So, then next would be the Air Force One St. Patrick's Day that came out the next year, 2006, which is probably the most notable of all the St. Patrick's Day Air Force Ones, because they've released year after year an St. Patrick's Day Air Force One for the most part. There's the 05, there's an 06, there's a 2010, which comes in a pack. So the St. Patrick's Day shoes that came out in 2010, there was actually two of them that came out in a pack, and then there was a grade school version that came out. But the 2006 one is the most notable. That's the one that has the most hype, because for whatever reason, every important sneaker that ever came out released in 2006 for some reason. I mean, I guess that was just like the golden year for sneakers. 2006 was great. But again, for me, the 2006 Air Force One, the St. Patrick's Day, wasn't my favorite. Like I said, the 2005 one I think was the best looking one. This one, the reason why I don't think this one looks the best is because, okay, so you have the color blocking. It's reminiscent of like a PlayStation Air Force One. If you know anything about that PlayStation Air Force One. It's got the patent leather. It's got the color blocking where it's one color in the front, and then the heel tab on the shoe, or the heel section of the shoe, is white. You know what I mean? Like the color blocking for a lot of those hyped like Nike Air Force Ones from that era, they kind of all look the same. And so this St. Patrick's Day Air Force One is kind of like that. It looks just like the PlayStation Air Force One, but with St. Patrick's Day colors on it instead of, the PlayStation colors. So, it's not super special in my opinion. Um, and also, like, if you remember, that LeBron had his own Air Force One, same thing around that same time. It may not have been, it may not have come out in like 2006, but it was around that same time where all these special Air Force Ones were patent leather, same color blocking scheme, but different colors. That's really all that there is to it. Um, I mean, the only so then the 2010 ones, the ones that came in the pack, pretty basic. I mean, the one was mostly white and had some green on it. It was just a regular looking Air Force One. There wasn't any crazy like color distribution. There wasn't any crazy like material. It just looked like the regular Air Force One with some green. And then the other one in the pack was pretty much all green. Um, so those were cool, pretty basic, but I mean, whatever. It's a St. Patrick's Day sneaker, so I mean, what are you gonna do with the St. Patrick's Day sneaker that's gonna be super special? I mean, nothing really. Then you have in 2013 they came out with a St. Patrick's Day dunk. Pretty basic. It's a dunk high. I think it's just a dunk. I don't think it's an SB if I remember correctly. Uh, it's just a dunk high. It's mostly green and it has a gold swoosh. Cool looking sneaker. I mean, if you're one of those people that is into SBs or into dunks just in general and wants to get, get a nice pair that like most people aren't gonna have, you're probably gonna shell out about 500 if you want to buy that shoe resale. Unless maybe 1 year soon they might retro it. They're retroing a lot of dunks right now, so who knows? They may do a St. Patrick's Day dunk. So, wait around for that maybe. But it's a cool looking sneaker, I think. Now, me, I would probably go a little bit left with my St. Patrick's Day sneaker choice, just because that's how I am. I would do the Heineken Dunk instead. Now, I know Heineken has nothing to do with St. Patrick's Day. Heineken is a beer company based out of Holland. They literally have nothing to do with what do you call it? They literally have nothing to do with St. Patrick's Day. But Heineken is dope. I like it. So I used to have this dope ass Heineken hoodie, and it'd be cool to like wear that with the shoes if I still had the hoodie, but I don't. These pants go with it. They got some yellow and red striping. That's cool. But yeah. And so those are. Oh, then there was Air Max. I forgot about the Air Max. Jeez. So there's an Air Max St. Patrick's Day that came out 2007. So that's in the midst of all the Air Force Ones. Too busy for me. It's got the coloring, but it's also got like graphics on it. And for me, like when you put graphics, like you put a shamrock all over a shoe, and it's just printed on the material instead of like embroidered or laser etched or, you know what I mean, embossed on the shoe. There's no texture to it. It just like, oh, this is printed. It looks kind of childish to me, especially with those bright colors. Like it's a green shoe with like some white and some yellow. So that shoe's not as cool to me as some of the other St. Patrick's Day ones. I guess if you're just that into Air Maxes, you'd probably cop it. But me personally, I'm not. I've never been an Air Max guy. I acknowledge Air Maxes as great shoes. I mean, there are some that are just classics, like the Infrared 90, the Neon Green 95. the Greedies. You know what I mean? There's plenty of the Gundam 98. You know what I mean? There's a lot of like history to the Air Max for sure. But me personally, I'm not a Air Max guy. Never have been. I own one pair of Silver Bullet Air Max 97s, and I have some Air Max Pluses. And the only reason I got them at the time, I was working out real heavy and going to the gym a lot, and I needed like a nice running shoe or nice light running shoe or training shoe, and I was like, oh, let me get these. And that's the only reason I have them. Then, so I'm kind of trying to go in chronological order since we're done talking about the forces. So we got to the Dunk, that was in 2013. Then, switching over to a different brand here, the Adidas handball Spezial came out last St. Patrick's Day. Cool looking shoe, one of the coolest looking like Adidas shoes because of the material, like the suede on it has that like ratty look to it. So you know, like most Air Jordans and stuff like that, the suede material is real smooth and buttery. But with Adidas, those old school Adidas shoes, when they have suede on them, it's like really rough. It's like a rough suede, and I actually like that. I think it's dope. It looks raw. It looks, you know, like, hey, I just cut this suede and put it on a shoe. It looks very raw, and obviously with people being into off-white, you know, that raw look, that deconstructed look is really popular right now. So, excuse me. So a shoe that has just like a raw quality to it, I think is really dope. It looks really basic. Besides that, I mean, it's got that black sole on it, and then it's got orange highlights, which is dope. Because you know, green and orange, that's St. Patrick's Day color. Orange. Irish people are known for having red or orange hair or ginger hair, so orange is a color that resonates with Irish heritage, same as green. So I think that's dope. Then it has the word Spezial, like right where the stripes are, in gold. That's a shoe that I know if I can bet if Full Size Run does an episode this week, Matt Welty will probably wear that particular shoe because he's a Spezial guy, and it's like 2 days after St. Patrick's Day, so I can see him doing that. Just cause that's the type of shit that he likes. That's really it as far as St. Patrick's Day sneakers. There aren't many. There aren't really any like St. Patrick's Day there aren't really any St. Patrick's Day shoes that Nike's officially done with the name St. Patrick's Day attached to them. Obviously, if you're from Akron and you know anything about LeBron's, there are a bunch of Fighting Irish colorways because LeBron's high school, right? St. Vincent St. Mary. So, of course, I have a pair of St. Vincent St. Mary LeBron 3s. There are some St. Vincent St. Mary there are some other retros that you can actually get. St. Vincent St. Mary 1s, the 3s. If you want to get like the ones that haven't been retroed, if you want to go and get some old LeBrons that have the St. Vincent St. Mary colorway attached to them, you can find those on StockX and GOAT. And of course, they're not officially like St. Patrick's Day shoes, but St. Patrick's Day is all about Irish heritage for a lot of people. St. Vincent St. Mary's is Irish Catholic school, and they're literally called the Fighting Irish, so how it doesn't get much more Irish than that. I think that they should probably retro a LeBron, like a St. Vincent St. Mary colorway, on St. Patrick's Day one of these years. I think that'd be really cool. Like if they'd have done a St. Mary LeBron 7 retro that drops on St. Patrick's Day this year, that would have been cool. Maybe they'll do something like that next year. Nike, if you're listening, free. There's a free idea for you. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. I just wanted to come to you guys for a little bit of time. Didn't want to talk about anything too crazy in depth. I do have an episode coming Saturday, like I mentioned. So I want to save a lot of the good content for that episode since we're gonna have a guest. I want to get his opinion on a lot of different topics. So gonna save those. So yeah, get at me in the comments here later today, guys. This video won't post till tomorrow, so you'll see this go up on Wednesday. You'll see the video go up on Wednesday. If you have any comments and stuff like that, just get at me in the comment section. Tell me about your preparation for the coronavirus, what you guys are doing during this time. I'd love to hear from you, see what everyone out there is getting into. But definitely be safe. Keep yourself healthy. There's a lot of different There's a lot of different just healthy things that you can do naturally that aren't that expensive. You don't have to go out there and get no fucking medication or nothing. Just stay up on some natural things that can keep you healthy. Do that, and hopefully once this all blows over, we'll all be healthy and we can go back to living our regular lives. But until later this week on Saturday, I will see you guys, and like I said, be safe.